Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how to make a jellyfish keychain crochet tutorial. It should only take you about half an hour to an hour, so let's get started. For supplies, you will need any size 4 yarn in however many colors you want, some scissors, a 3.5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, and for these eyes I use 6 to 8mm safety eyes. You also need some stuffing and of course the Keychain Hardware if you plan on making it a keychain. So the first step is to make a magic circle. For those of you who don't know how to make a magic circle, I'm going to demonstrate very slowly. So you hold your yarn like this, and I twist my left hand like so, and with your right 2 fingers, you're just gonna pull up a loop, but you don't completely pull it all the way. So I go about right here, and then you'll see that there are now 2 different circles. You're gonna insert your hook on the top one, and then you're gonna yarn over, and then you're gonna do a chain 1, like so. So as you can see, the first loop, it's still there, and that becomes your magic circle. I flip it around, just horizontally, like so. And then you can make 6 single crochets into this magic circle. So this is 1 single crochet. You yarn over, pull up the yarn, and then yarn over again and go through both loops. That's a single crochet. So that was my second one. This is my 3rd single crochet. And then number 4, 5, and then 6. After you do your 6 single crochets, you're gonna look for the tail end, and you're going to pull until it's really tight, because that's how you close the magic circle. And once it's tight, you're going to look for the very first single crochet that you made. It might be difficult to find if you were crocheting really tight, but I'm going to show you. It's this V over here, the very first V that you see. You're going to insert your hook into both of those loops, like so. And you're going to do a slip stitch. So you're going to yarn over, pull through the V, and then you're going to pull through again on the loop that's already on your hook. That is a slip stitch. After the slip stitch, you're going to chain 1. So after every row, we're going to be doing a slip stitch and a chain 1 to start the new row. Okay, so for row number 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets in every stitch. That's called an increase. So as you can see, I'm doing 1 single crochet into the first stitch. It's a bit tight, so I'm having a hard time. Okay, try again. We're gonna do yarn over, pull through, and complete the single crochet. And then do another one on the exact same stitch, not on the next one, but just the same stitch. Now that you've done your first increase, you're going to do the exact same thing on every single stitch all the way around. So at the end, you should have 12 single crochets in that row overall. Okay, so I fast forwarded to the very last stitch. I completed my last 2 stitches. So now I have 12, and I'm going to look for the single crochet that I've made in the first single crochet that I made. And I'm doing the exact same thing where I look for the V, I do a slip stitch, and then a chain 1. And now we're starting on our 3rd row. For the 3rd row, we're going to do 1 single crochet and then an increase in the next stitch. And then a single crochet and then an increase again in the next stitch. So I just did my single crochet. I'm going to go to the next stitch and I'm going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in that same stitch. After that, on the next stitch, I will do 1 single crochet. And then on the stitch after that, I'll do 2 single crochets. So I'm just going to repeat this until I have 18 single crochets overall in this row. And at the very end, you guys already know what to do. We're going to do a slip stitch on the very first single crochet we made and a chain 1 to start row number 4. Okay, so I'm just finishing up this row and I'm doing my slip stitch and chain 1. For row number 4, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. we're going to do 1 single crochet, and on the next stitch we do another single crochet, and on the next stitch we're going to do an increase, so 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. Again, 1 single crochet, another single crochet, and on the next stitch it's 2 single crochets. At the end of this row you should have 24 stitches overall. So I've finished row number 4. We're going to do row number 5 now, and all we have to do is single crochet all around. So you're going to just do 1 single crochet in each stitch, which is 24 stitches overall. And at the end of this row, make sure to do a slip stitch and a chain 1 to finish up row number 5. As I'm finishing this row, you'll notice that the shape is actually starting to cone a little bit, starting to be more like a bowl, and that's what we want. We're going to do 2 more rows of normal, just single crochet all around, 24 stitches. So that's going to be for row 6 and 7. And after that, we're going to meet back. Okay, so I've finished doing rows 6 and 7. It's now looking more like a bowl. And now we're going to start on row number 8. For row number 8, we're going to be decreasing. So first we're going to do 1 single crochet on that stitch. The second one, we're going to, you see these 2 stitches over here? We're going to combine them into 1 stitch. That's a decrease. So first, you're going to look for the front loop of the stitch right here. You see the V, and then you're just going to insert your hook on the very front. And then the next one, you're also going to look for the front loop, and you're only going to insert your hook through the front. Now you should have 3 loops on your crochet hook. As you can see, you're going to yarn over, pull through only 2 of them, like so. Could be difficult at first, but yes. And then now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through. That is a decrease. For the next one, you're going to do a single crochet again. So you're kind of alternating. So now we're going to do a decrease again. I'm going to show you just in case you're still confused. You look for the very front loop of these 2 stitches. You're going to insert your hook on the first one, like so. And then the second one as well. You're going to look for the front loop. You're going to insert your hook through it. 1 second. There you go. And then you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through only 2. And then yarn over, pull through the last 2. That is a decrease. So we're just going to keep repeating this. You're going to do a single crochet and then a decrease, a single crochet and then a decrease until you get to the end. At the end of the row, you should have 16 stitches overall, and then just do the exact same thing where you do a slip stitch and then a chain 1 to finish up the row. It's starting to look more like a jellyfish now because we closed it off a little bit. So just hide that tail, and then we're going to do the skirt of the jellyfish. So you're going to do 3 chains. So this is my second chain and my third chain. And you look for the next stitch, and you're just going to do a slip stitch there, which you already know how to do. You just yarn over and pull through both loops. So chain 3 again, and then look for the next stitch, and then you just do a slip stitch there. And you're going to repeat this pattern until you get all around the jellyfish and come back to the same spot. So as you can see, I was just demonstrating what the skirt looks like. They look like little bumps, like frilly little bumps around the jellyfish. Okay, so once you're done the skirt, You're just going to chain 1, and then you're going to leave a long tail before cutting, because we're going to be using this to sew on the bottom. So as you can see, I was leaving a longer tail than normal. I cut it like so, and I'm going to be pulling the hook upwards so that it can sew it shut, like so. Okay, and then we're going to be setting this aside because we're going to start working on the bottom. So first, we're going to do a magic circle again. For those who need a refresher, please follow along on the screen. Okay, so now we're going to be putting 6 single crochets into the magic circle. After we place the 6 single crochets, we're going to cinch it closed, and then we're going to slip stitch onto the first single crochet that we made and chain 1. This is exactly the same steps that we did for the body. Okay, for the next row, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch, which is an increase. So it's still the same steps as we did for row 2 on the body. We're just repeating it for the bottom part. Okay, at the end of the row, slip stitch and chain 1. For the third row, we're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 increase. It's also the exact same thing we did for row 3 on the body. And like always, at the end of this row, slip stitch and chain 1. And then just cut off the tail. It doesn't have to be long this time. And then pull the hook upwards and pull tight. That's the bottom part of the jellyfish. Now we're going to be doing the little tentacles. We're going to be making like 3 tentacles overall, but honestly you can put however many you want. So first, we're going to do a slip knot. So hold your yarn like so, twist your left hand, grab the yarn with your right, and pull tight like this until you make a loop. And then insert your hook through this loop, and then pull it so that it's a little bit tighter but not too tight, like so. And then you're going to be making 15 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to keep going until you have 15 overall. Okay, so now that we have our 15 chains, we're going to be making our spiral. So on the second chain from the loop right here, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And then after doing the 2 single crochets in that one stitch, you're going to do the exact same thing all the way down. So 2 single crochets here as well. So basically, once you're done with all the single crochets, you should have 28 single crochets overall, and it should have made a spiraling pattern, which you will notice about this time. So as you can see, it's kind of curving, and putting 2 single crochets into one stitch makes that spiraling pattern. Okay, so at the end of this, you're just going to do a chain 1, and then you're going to cut the yarn. Leave about I would say 3 inches of the tail. So as you can see, it became like a cute little spiral. And then you're just gonna repeat this whole thing like as many times as you want. I'm gonna repeat it 2 more times so that I have 3 tentacles overall. To attach it to the bottom of the jellyfish, you're gonna wanna hold the bottom like so, facing me like this. You're gonna take any stitch and just poke your hook through it. You're going to make sure you take that yarn all the way to the other side, and then you're gonna go about a stitch or 2 away, and then you're just gonna take the other piece of yarn and pull it through to the other side. And now you're going to take these 2 tails and you're going to tie 2 knots so that they stay secure. And you're just going to repeat this for however many tentacles you made, and you're going to fit them all in this bottom piece. Okay, so I've placed all 3 of my tentacles on my bottom piece like this, and now it's time to attach this to the body. Okay, so now you can see that we have a lot of tails here, so you could choose to cut it. I cut it short so that it doesn't get in my way, but make sure it doesn't unravel. Okay, so now that it's cut short, we're gonna take the body that we have already made, and then we're gonna attach our safety eyes on the first row of stitches that you see right here. And then you're gonna put the backing behind it as well. I put it about, I don't know how many stitches this is. I think it's about 4 to 5 stitches apart. I think that seems to be a good distance. And then I'm just placing the backing behind it. Make sure you do the safety eyes before you attach the 2 pieces together, because it'll be really difficult for you to put it on once it's already been sewn together. Okay, so now that the eyes are in place, we're going to start attaching this bottom piece. So you hold it like so, and then this long the tail will be what we use to sew. So you just put it into the needle, and then you can sew it however you like. Even if you make a mistake in this part, it's not super obvious because it's the bottom piece. But typically I like to look at where the stitches are and use them as a guide to know where to put all of my sewing. As you can see, I kind of use the skirt, like the little humps on the skirt of the body, to tell me exactly where to put my stitches and to make sure that it is even all around. So let me demonstrate again. I look for this little hole in the middle of the hump, and then I sew it through a stitch in the bottom like so, and then you're just gonna go all the way around. But before you close it off, we're going to be stuffing the body as we go. Okay, so I stopped about halfway through just to stuff the jellyfish. Make sure that you stuff it so that it's firm enough, but not too much that the stuffing is coming out through the stitches. So after you stuff the body, just continue sewing until you get to the end. And once you get to the end, make sure you weave in your tail so that it's secure. Okay, now it's time to take any keychain hardware that you have. In this case, I'm using this one. They look like little beads, and they're very, very easy to install. You don't need any other tools, just your hands. So I take this larger metal bit, and I'm going to pick a stitch at the top, and then I'm not just gonna go through one stitch, I'm gonna go through about 2 stitches to really make sure that it stays secure. So I'm having a bit of a hard time here, but as you can see, it went through the other side, So that is how much I went through. And then I just secure it like so. And you've finally completed your jellyfish. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope this tutorial was helpful. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and let me know down below what other tutorials you would love for me to do. Thank you, see you next time.